Recruitment was lots of costumes and skits, and was a lot. There was a lot more going on in Sorority Rush in the '80s than we have now. No Frills hadn't come into play in the '80s, so I remember our first day of recruitment was a carnival theme, and it was so cute. Mm-hmm. The Alpha Phis were so fun, and we just left there and went, oh my gosh, I love them.
So we got out there, and they were darling.
They were awesome.
We fell in love with them right away.
We did. And I opened my bid first.
Yeah, I was nervous. Because she opened her and she got Alpha Phi. I was thinking, oh no! But I got it too.
I remember going to the chapter house during formal recruitment, and the song leader had so much energy and was lots of fun. I could tell that it was a group of women who were really happy people and fun to be with. And I still know those people. That song leader is still a good friend of mine. And so I guess I remember standing there at the front lawn that very first day and seeing her and realizing, this could be a great place to be.
I was initiated in January 1980, so exactly 30 years after my mom. And I had actually come on Admitted Students Day to Northwestern, and there was some free time to kill, and I wandered around the sorority quads looking at them, and I came to the Alpha Phi door and rang the bell and said, hi, my mom's an Alpha Phi, can I come in and look at the house? And they said, sure, come on in. Probably a rust violation, but I was doing it, so it wasn't them, they didn't do it. But yes, I wanted to be an Alpha Phi from the moment I got here, because when I was visiting school and I rang the doorbell and said, let me in, they were so friendly, and I still remember the person who let me in was Marilyn Goldberg, and she was also a theater major. I was a theater major here at Northwestern, and it was great. I met a lot of people that first day that I stormed in, and so when I came through Rush, I felt like I already belonged here. I knew people, and I knew the house.
I liked the girls in the chapter. There were a couple of chapters that I was rushed by that they were sickly sweet. And I just was never a sickly sweet person, so it didn't appeal to me at all. And the Alpha Phis I really truly liked. It turned out to be a wonderful, wonderful choice, obviously. I was well aware of that as a collegian, that it was definitely the right place for me.
I'm actually from a small rural community in southeastern Nebraska, Hebron, Nebraska, and I grew up there and then went to college at the University of Nebraska, following my older sister, 2 years older than I, who also went to the University of Nebraska and pledged Alpha Phi. I lived in the house until I graduated and was so glad, and that was, one of the bonuses of being an Alpha Phi was living in the house and having your sisters right there, for fun and support and everything. It was the best of times.
One of my favorite memories during pledge period was meeting your pledge mom. Now they have big sisters, little sisters, but it was pledge moms and pledge daughters, and we did stringing, which was your pledge mom would get a skein of yarn and would string it all over the house, except that everybody else also did the same thing. So it was like a cobweb of yarn in this house. And along the way, there were little notes, little hints of who she might be. There were little presents, little Alpha Phi things. And at the end, you met your pledge mom. But you had to climb over each other and up and down the stairs and in and out of the tangle.
I think that I was an Alpha Phi from the time I came out of the womb, because my mother had been co-founder of the new chapter and devoted her entire life to Alpha Phi events. And when she used to entertain the alumni in Omaha, I, as a child of 3, would come in and sit on the floor, and I knew all of the Nebraska founders, Jane Blanchard and Louise Stegner and all of the other ones. And so it was imperative to my mother that when I became a collegian, that I should join her chapter of Alpha Phi. And of course, nobody else knew this, but we lived in California. So they shipped me back to Nebraska. I didn't know a soul, but I lived in the house because in those days we didn't have to live in the dorm to begin with. And I just loved the 2 years that I was there.
I was at Duke for 2 years, and then I transferred to Ohio State. And when I was at Ohio State, one of the other sororities was having a struggle at that time, so they were taking in members of other groups who could rent rooms in their house. And there were 4 of us Alpha Phi transfers from various schools that year. So I had the 4 roommates from, I think it was Wisconsin, Denison, myself from Duke, and then there was somebody else. But we were right across from the Alpha Phi house, so we ate all of our meals there, and I got to know the Alpha Phi girls very well there, and I kept up with some of them for years and years. And then I did transfer in the end to Northwestern, and I participated in some of the events with the Beta chapter there.
Our sizes were, quota was 10, 12 people, so all of the sororities were really quite small, and so they required us to live in the house. And I lived in the house all 4 years I was in college. But what it did, even though they were smaller, it really actually made the Greek system feel more together. We used to go to each other's houses. There was never, it was almost like we were one big sorority on Sorority Row. We were friends with people in all the houses. We'd go and study at each other's houses. Even today, we're friends with girls, women that we met when we were in college in other houses.
I went to the University of California at Santa Barbara in 1948, and that was right after World War II. It was a very small school, approximately 4,000 students, many GIs, and there was 8 local sororities on the campus. We were approached by nationals, but we had a very wicked dean of women, and she said all 8 sororities must become national or not one. So she set it up that we had to interview sororities for a whole month. So I got to learn a lot about sororities, because in those days, no, we didn't really know that much about sororities. And what Dean Sweet didn't know was that mainly it was all pre-organized and everybody knew who was going to be what. And of course I was a pledge, so I didn't know anything. So I was very happy that we were chosen by Alpha Phi.
In 1964, I was initiated in May. And after pledging in January, that was the pledge period back then.
The local alumni, plus some girls from UCLA, came to Santa Barbara and gave us a proper initiation, which was very exciting. We all had to stay in our rooms until we were called. It was lovely, very exciting. Then that night, again, the Alpha Phi alumni in Santa Barbara had arranged for our initiation banquet to be at the Santa Barbara Biltmore, which was the most posh place in town.